All right, continuing with our humor series, I'm just going to get right into it today. It's funny how the fitness community in the U.S. and other highly developed countries is progressing, and the goals of the goals of this community. In this country, for example, there is this massive effort now to get guys and girls to look like what I would say famous stick-like figures that one would typically encounter in third world countries who are in those situations not famished because of looking the way they do, not because of working out a lot or any sort of structured diet program, but frankly just because of starvation and lack of food. So think about the strangeness of that for a second. You have people here in first world countries working round the clock to make money, which then gets spent on gym memberships, trainers, all sorts of complicated nutrition and food choices, with the end goal of looking like the inhabitants of a third world country. So the thinking would be, why not, if you have that goal, if you want to look like that, why not just go to a third world country and live like the people there do and basically forget about all the exhausting steps in between? Seems like a much simpler way of going at it. So that'll be the joke one. If you missed that was a joke, we'll have to label these joke one. Joke two. Since money was invented, a small minority of people have always praised others that haven't been greedy, that live simply, and that basically don't bother to make a lot of money. These sorts of people have been praised. Different arguments and analogies have been used to praise these people, but I was thinking about the issue the other day as I was riding my bike. I had one of these headphones on, but only had one of the headphones because I'd cut one of the pieces so I could hear the road traffic. And I'd been using this headphone for a lot, and then in the middle of the ride it started giving me problems. But you could still basically hear it. I mean, you had to kind of move the thing around in the hole that it was in, and kind of massage it a little bit. But basically, you could still hear stuff. It was only one cheap headphone. I bought it for $6, and it had been beaten down over time. But it was still, in the end, it got the job done. I was able to listen to the music and finish my ride out. And maybe the ride would have been better had I stopped somewhere and gotten a headphone that worked much better, that was fully operational on both sides. Maybe it would have been better, but then I would have had to get off the bike, and then all these aggravations would have started to pile up. So I didn't do it. I just kept riding with that silly little junky headphone and got the ride done, and the music was good enough. And the more I think about it, money is kind of exactly the same way. Life is probably somewhat better with a lot of money, probably somewhat better. But life can still be pretty damn good even with very little money. So the effort required to go from a pretty good life with very little money to perhaps a slightly better life or a great life with lots of money, this effort may be not at all worth it. And so in the same way, it may not be worth the bother. So I guess this wasn't so much a joke, but more of an analogy for one of my further blog posts. So to those looking for the joke here, I guess I would say I'm sorry. What are the big virtues of the joke three? This one is a joke. Some of the big virtues of the current age is freedom, and we all have more freedom than people had in the past. That's pretty much undeniable. Is this a good thing? Well, it kind of depends. Freedom means the freedom to choose, and the choices we are talking about are made by individual human beings. Some of these people have a tendency to make pretty good choices. No one's infallible, but some people have a tendency to make pretty good choices, and others have a tendency to make really poor choices. So in the end, it's not all clear that more freedom means basically better choices and a better society as a result. For example, every gym in America could tomorrow come out with some mandatory workout program for its members that covered all the bases: cardio, lifting, everything. And most likely everyone going through this program would end up looking pretty good, although pretty much the same because they're all doing the same thing. There wouldn't be any huge gaps in the training or anything. And wouldn't that be better than today's environment of total freedom where everyone can do whatever workout they want? And I kind of want to say yes. I mean, I went to the gym today this morning and I saw so many guys that had huge stacked upper bodies. I mean, stacked. And but basically, when you look down the figure, their legs were like this thin. So it was like a chicken leg. It was like a tiny, tiny chicken leg on this massive torso. And I thought about the freedom issue then. I was like, you know what? They basically made the choice to skip the leg training and wear jeans when they go out, so that they could pump the upper body endlessly and look the vanity muscles of the biceps and the chest. And so that's what you get with freedom. You get these kind of bizarre choices and bizarre outcomes where you get almost this kind of disproportion. So the next time you see someone, a politician or some sort of cultural figure, raving about the virtues of living in a free society, maybe the thing to do would be to think about these chicken leg guys in the gym with jacked up upper bodies with chicken legs, and think about maybe at that point, for even the briefest of second, if you lived in America, you could reevaluate your very high regard for freedom. Joke next, I'll just say. Next joke. Technology is making everyone so damn lazy and stupid. I mean, that's kind of a cliche to say, almost undeniable when you look at some of the data. But how bad is the problem becoming? And I think that is kind of somewhere where there's a lot of dispute. But I think a good way to frame it would be, I think, basically, if you look around today, people are good at things that require doing 3 easy steps. The steps can't be complicated, and they can't be more than 3. So that's kind of where we're at today. Like, people can just nail things that require 3 easy steps. You get to 4 or 5, there's a problem. And obviously they can do 1 step because that's even easier. But 3 easy steps is what most people can handle. I mean, think about it. Like making a microwave meal. People are really good at that. No one has a problem with making a microwave meal. How many steps does that involve? 3. You remove the thing from the freezer. You remove the package, and you remove the the plastic packaging, the cardboard packaging. You put it in the microwave and hit start, and the time that it requires. So that's step 2, and then you remove it, step 3, and eat it. Throw it out. Kind of big step 3. But anyway, that was 3 steps. People are really good at that. Another example is people today are good at using their credit cards. They buy something in a store, then bam, again, we get to 3 steps. Remove the credit card, swipe the credit card and sign, put the credit card back in your pocket. Really good at that. People are really good at that. Look at how much credit card usage is spiking and how few people have cash now. It's because people love the 3 steps of credit cards. Social media, 3 steps. Look at the explosion in Instagram and all these other things. 3 steps. Go on Facebook, you scroll through the different posts, and then you select, so that's 2 steps right there, and then you select a few posts to like or comment on, and you're done. So that's 3 posts. What about posting a picture? Same thing. You take the picture, you kind of filter it, you add the filters and stuff that you want, then you post it with some little comment on it on your Facebook or whatever, or on your whatever social media. Again, 3 steps. People are awesome at that. So we live in the age of 3 steps. 3 steps. So once you get beyond the 3rd step is where the trouble really begins. It gets really hard for people after 3 steps. Now, whether you want to say people are getting stupid as a result of this or lazy, I'm just describing the reality. Once you get to 3 steps or more than 3 steps, things get really fucking bad really quick. Look at things that require 4 steps or more. Long-term dating. How many steps does that involve? A lot more than 3 steps. How disastrous has that become? Disastrous. Getting in really good shape. How many steps does that involve? A lot more than 3 steps. How disastrous has that become? Managing your finances well, getting debt low and building up savings. How many steps does that involve? Many. How disastrous has that become? Even planning social gatherings with friends and family. How many steps does that involve? How disastrous has that become? and on, having good relations with your family, giving up an addiction, all these sorts of things. These are multi-step things, way beyond 3 steps, and the results have become disastrous. So I think I think there's justification now for a change in the name of our species as a species. I mean, from Homo sapiens, which is kind of boring and sort of long been used, to something that more accurately reflects what we're capable of now, what humans are actually capable of. And so rather than this name that has really not sapiens, no one really knows what that means or whatever, why don't we make it something related to this 3 steps, our ability to do 3 steps really well? So I would propose a change in species names from Homo sapiens to Homo tres sapiens, 3 is in Spanish, Homo tres sapiens, or Homo tres passos, which I actually really like, Homo tres passos. Tres passos in Spanish is 3 steps, so Homo tres passos might be the preferred name. So with that, that's all for today.